And now we're going to have a panel. Our first panel is going to be talking about Central Florida, living, working, playing in Central Florida. So right now I would like to bring up to the stage, to have a seat up here, Omar Fuentes from Excel EQ. Omar, give him a round of applause while he walks up here. Thank you. Diana Tamayo, Alluvionic. And Troy Underwood from Tampa Steel and Supply. Our beautiful state of Florida. Okay, are you guys ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Sure.
Okay, so I've been a Floridian since 1991. Before I joined the military, I came from the island of Jamaica, and I've always loved the state, never gave up my residency. I've lived in South Florida, but I've also lived in Orlando when I was a commander here for Army recruiting, because I lived here for 2 years. And then now I'm in Tampa, and I've been there for 3 years. So what are some of the great things that you'd like to talk about when it comes to living in Central Florida? And this
Sure,
for all
I'll
of you. It's all of
I'll
you.
take it off. You know, when we walk out our front door and stand in our driveway and are able to see a rocket launch, it means that we're at a location that is thriving. And, you know, getting out to the beach all the time, all of the outdoor activities, it's just made it the perfect place. We live where others vacation.
Live, work, and play. Omar?
I mean, just to kind of, you know, build on that is the ability to actually have, you know, we have a family, of course, like, you know, we all do. So the kids to be able to play outside literally year round, right? I think winter time, like we'll get a little bit of free air conditioning, right, for a period of time. But then just to really kind of enjoy even some of the other areas that a lot of people hope that they would be able to find, right? Even other little different towns, cities and such. And just to enjoy the freedom of being out there constantly and just enjoying, you know, this great weather and state.
And Troy.
And I'd just add to exactly what they said. In addition, we have a lot of top-rated schools and universities, and I have 2 daughters that go to University of Tampa and another one starting at USF, and it's nice that we have those top-rated schools there. And lastly, Florida's just been a great place to have a business. It's a very good economic area. We saw that through the pandemic, that Florida was really leading the nation when it came to supporting businesses.
I was going to mention about the pandemic too. So yeah, it's always awesome seeing, unfortunate sometimes, seeing the other states all cooped up during the bad weather, and then we had great weather here and just enjoying it with the family. So I personally appreciate it that way. So Diane, please tell us and tell the audience about SkillBridge. Tell us a little bit about SkillBridge.
SkillBridge is probably one of the most important items that the DoD has started offering transitioning members, not only retirees, but individuals who are separating regardless of how many years they've had in the military. It's getting to be so popular that commanders are having to choose based on, you know, personnel that they're going to have available, whether or not they can allow folks to leave up to 6 months early. One thing I want to say about SkillBridge, I think is important as veterans and for folks that are, you know, maybe entrepreneurs, is getting into the DoD SkillBridge network. It takes some time. It's definitely not a quick process, but once you're into that network, folks can find on the DoD website SkillBridge for, you know, whatever they're looking for. I actually worked with a couple of different organizations to find a SkillBridge before working with Alluvionic. So DoD SkillBridge is something that's amazing.
I didn't get to experience it in my transition, but I've heard a lot about it. So when it comes to the Space Coast and the workforce over there, how has SkillBridge affected the workforce as you've seen it with those transitioning?
I think it's bringing folks to our area that at a time when they're transitioning, they weren't sure where they wanted to go. They're seeing the growth in not only aerospace, but they're seeing growth in cyber, IT, risk management across the network of things that here in the Florida is being brought to the table. I mean, and they're offered so much as being a veteran, you know, so they can't pass it up.
That's true, and I've noticed that too. But for folks who are looking to come to the state of Florida, and especially to the Central Florida area, what are some of the industries that you've seen having major growth on your coast, in the Space Coast?
I think one of the top ones that I see huge growth in is the cyber area. And that's because small businesses or, you know, even other, you know, larger businesses, they're seeing that in order to work with the government, they have to have a very, very strong cyber profile. And that is the number one thing that I believe we've got in the Air Force, and now even in the Space Force, is a strong cyber presence.
Okay, so I'm going to ask individual questions, of course, but I'm going to stick with you for 2 more questions and then Omar. So I'm not going to be skipping around, unless you have something to add. So the first question I have for you, Troy. How was your experience going through the Veterans Entrepreneurship Program, and how has it helped you to grow Tampa Steel and Company, the Veterans Florida Entrepreneurship Program?
Well, for me, there are 3 things that were really valuable out of the program. The first was I got to go through it with my spouse. My wife, Christina, she is my first sergeant. So it was nice to be able to go through the course with her, because as an entrepreneur, you never leave work. You're always at work, whether you're there or not there at home. And so it was a great opportunity for her to learn about business, as well as me to refine some tools. Secondly, the course for me came at a great time. It was right at the tail end of the beginning of the pandemic. And through the assignments that we worked on, I was able to utilize one of the ideas as a pivot. Being a steel company, a metal company, we couldn't make masks and we couldn't create sanitizer, but I had just spent like $300,000 on a machine, and I was worried about making payments on that. And we came up with the idea in the course to create metal art signs for the back for home offices, for backgrounds to Zoom meetings. So that was the second piece. And the third was that I had a great group in the class. We were all at different stages of our business. Some were startup ideas. Others were mature businesses like me. But the thing we had all in common, we all had the military in common. And so that allowed us to bond, and through different collaborations on projects and assignments, we were able to help each other out. I learned things from different ways of thinking things from the startup people, and they learned some things from me on how to get to the next level of their business to get it, you know, more mature and grow. And all those things combined helped us get recognized as a top 500 business in the Gulf Coast of Florida last year, which was very exciting.
Interesting. So with us being military, with you being military, talk about pivoting. Do you feel like your military skills has helped you with pivoting during the pandemic when you weren't able to do the things that you're used to doing?
I think we're all, when you come from the military background, and I was a military brat, so it was all in my blood and life. You just adapt and overcome. You know, whether it was moving every 2 years and having to get from, you know, one post or one base to another, you just prepare yourself and you're always ready. And so there were certainly some challenges. The entrepreneur course really helped me think about some things differently. Even though I had a deep business background, it was just new, refreshing ideas and a new way to look at things. So it was like perfect timing.
Outstanding. So how did you acquire your business?
Well, I was fortunate. I knew the owner of the business, and he was an absentee owner. He was looking for somebody to purchase the business. I really wasn't sure that I wanted to go all in. I really didn't know the metal industry. So I worked out an arrangement with him that I would run the business for a couple years and see how it goes. If I liked it, we'd find an agreement. If not, at least he would be in a more profitable and more sellable position. And I ended up liking the business, saw it being very viable. After a lot of back and forth, we came to an agreement, and that background of spending the time in the business helped me with not only funding, but also negotiating and being prepared for once I did become the owner of the business.
And for veterans like myself, or those who are out there, what advice do you have for us if we wanted to acquire a business?
I would say two things, and the first would be to know the business, because you have to really understand whether that's a viable business, because once you own it, you're in it, so being able to have some time spending in the business, seeing that you like it, seeing that you can grow it is very important. They actually have investors that look for veterans to run companies that they've purchased with the exit plan of selling it to that person they take over. I think one of those companies is here, Black Powder, and so they do that. The second thing would be to go through the entrepreneurship course, because you're going to learn how to grow a business, what is a viable business, and what you need to do, and what resources are out there to help you acquire that business. And so I would recommend going through that course as well.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Omar.
Yes.
You did a pitch competition last year?
I did.
How has your business grown since you did that pitch competition?
Well, one, I think it gave me a significant amount of confidence, right? And one of the things that Troy had talked about was essentially, knowing your business, right? Having a clear understanding of it, just having to really kind of dig my heels into what it is that I was doing, the product that we were building. And then once, we placed in the pitch competition, I don't know, for me, like something just kind of clicked and said, all right, I'm bringing some value here. To be quite honest, we actually won it without even having the product fully developed yet. Wow. So it was, somewhat a little bit shocking. I mean, we were in the process of doing it. We had some things that we could show. And so what it did is it gave me the confidence, and it just gave me the foundation to be able to do some other competitions, win some of those. And really more importantly than that, though, was to really kind of bring my company to where it's at today, where we're actually able to raise some more money. We're, doing some stuff working in Colorado now. And so it's just continuing to grow and really gave us that foundation to give us that confidence and move forward.
So it should boost some confidence here for those who are going to be pitching tomorrow. So what's on the horizon for your business?
Well, we're in the middle of raising funds right now. We have actually completed, our platform. We've built it from an MVP to now a proof of concept, and have some beta customers now that we're starting to implement. I'm actually leaving here in a couple of weeks to go to Colorado, because we were also accepted to a venture capital or venture fund accelerator. So to get some additional investments. So by the time August hits around, we should have closed our first round of funding, and had hopefully about a dozen or so customers on our platform. So I think that and then from there, we're just taking over the world. So it's just.
Which is our ultimate goal, right? As entrepreneurs.
Absolutely, yes.
Outstanding. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
And so for both you and Troy, what advice do you have for entrepreneurs that's in the Tampa Bay area, since that's where you're based? For myself, I'm in Tampa too, so.
So I'm trying to go through the list of all the things that I've learned through this process. Is one of the things I'd mention, or I'd say, is I'd lean in 100% on our military background, as being a veteran. I think one of the things that I did was I was kind of lost for about 12 years after active duty, because I was trying to conform to what civilians wanted me to be, to what corporate America wanted me to be like, and I just never fit in. The moment that I said, you know what, I'm a Marine, I know how to adapt and overcome, I know, what it is to take charge and to just, essentially run through things, but also that I had the aptitude to really be able to grasp a new industry, a new service, and then just grow and learn from there. My career exponentially took off at that moment, and that set me off to saying, okay, listen, I realized at that moment that I wanted to do something for myself, And that set me off in the path to starting my own company. So the one advice among the probably 500 other ones we can name or mention is go all in on being, that veteran or, that military spouse or family member, taking that and running with it.
And what's a list of resources that you would, put out there for those who are seeking help?
Clearly one is just Veterans Florida, right? It's just
and in Tampa.
That's what, here in Tampa. I just where I say here in Tampa, we're in Orlando. Sorry, wherever I go, I take Tampa with me. Veterans Florida is one of them. So if you don't know where to go, there's a ton of companies that are here today, that you can definitely just lean on to be able to guide you. I think we first coming to Veterans Florida, they had the ability to introduce me to multiple other companies and other organizations that they've worked with. So they don't try to keep everything for themselves. They really, truly want us to grow. Whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you are an intrapreneur, whether you want to, continue your education, whatever it may be, like to me, this is the start, and then, sky's the limit from that point. But and I'm sure everybody here has books and stuff to read and, all that good stuff. So.
Okay. Would you like to add anything?
Well, as far as the networking in Tampa area, particularly because McDill's there, there's a lot of support groups and a lot of entrepreneurial support groups. I mentioned one, Action Zone. I believe they have a booth here today. And I got to know them through Veterans Florida. That led me to another group called Bunker Labs, and I went through 2 or 3 entrepreneurial programs with them. My local chambers, the Greater Chamber of Tampa and Ybor City Chamber, both have veteran affair groups, and they do nothing but support veteran entrepreneurs and whether find businesses, get their businesses started up, all those kind of things. So there's a great network and backbone to be able to get involved and meet people and have people help you through it.
And you mentioned Action Zone and Bunker Labs. Those are 2 that I'm very familiar with, and I've actually worked with Action Zone in 2019, went through them for my program as well. But if you're anywhere in the state of Florida, you can definitely take advantage of those 2 that I'm aware of, plus Veterans Florida, of course.
So can I just mention one other?
Yes.
Yeah. I was just going to say Florida Association of Veteran-Owned Businesses, who's here? FAVOB. So they're another great organization that has definitely made some strides, right, and continuing to grow. But additionally with them, it's, an entrepreneurship group. But one of the things that I love about all the different programs, right, whether it's, Action Zone, Bunker Labs, FAVOB, is the fact is that whether you want to be an entrepreneur or not, the support is there, right? So entrepreneurship is not for everybody. I think it's not for me almost once a day. I quit. But what I'll tell you is the fact is that you can go down a journey and know that you still have the support system around you to be able to actually make that adjustment the way that you need to. So if you feel like you're going after a job, right, a particular career, build up those skills. If that's not what you want to do, you take those skills with you and you move on to the next mission.
And I didn't mention FAVOB because they're coming up next.
Never mind then.
So we'll take 1 or 2 questions from the audience. Does anyone have any questions? Or we'll just take 2 the max. Okay, no questions for this panel. Thank you very much. Give them a round of applause. I thank you very much. Oh, my pleasure.